Hey up, it's the old Yorkshire geek here, back again with some more geeky news. Right, so let's just get on with it, shall we? Let's just get on with it. I make myself small. Before I put my normal news window up, I've got a little window first. Let me find it. There we go. Oh, let me get it up so I can read it properly. This is from a Facebook. I saved it as a picture, but it's from a Facebook page. Oh, hang on, that's where we're going. On this day, 1933, King Kong premiered in Los Angeles. Sometime shortly afterwards, a 13-year-old Ray Harryhausen was taken to see the film at Grumman's Chinese Theatre, a cinema trip which changed his life. It's incredible to think what an effect the film had on Ray's destiny and the constant source of inspiration it remained throughout his life. Is anybody planning on watching this landmark film to celebrate its 89th anniversary? Yes, well, I'll be watching it later on, I do believe. Because King Kong, the original, is probably my favourite film of all time. I absolutely adore this film. It is brilliant and it's still as good today as it was 89 years ago. 89 years. A breakthrough film, that's what it is, with effects that are astonishing for the time, and sound effects that are probably even more astonishing for the time, because it were only about, 5 years after we got sound at the cinemas. Anyway, there's a coloured version knocking about, colourised version knocking about. I think it was done when, when Ted Turner wanted to go around colourising black and white films, wasn't he? I think he did King Kong and some others. I think The Longest Day, I don't know if he did that one, but there's a Longest Day colourised version as well, isn't there? And sometimes they look okay, and sometimes they look a bit naff. Anyway, so I thought I'd just share that one first. King Kong's 89th anniversary today. Amazing film. An amazing film. Right, so we'll get rid of that. Right, we'll get the proper window up now. If you can call it a proper window. It's the one with all the news in. There you go, Radio Times, all its bloody adverts. Because it's stupid ad blocking that it won't show the page unless you turn off your ad blocker. Right, where were we? Doctor Who's designers reveal updated Sea Devil design. Don't know what's updated about it, but... Anyway, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor will face off with a revamped version of the classic monsters in April. And there's a close-up of a Sea Devil face. We're only a few weeks away from Jodie Whittaker's penultimate Doctor Who episode, which sees the 13th Doctor battling classic foes, the Sea Devils, as well as some dastardly human foes on the Chinese seas. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the talons of, I can't remember what they call it, Wang Chung or Wang Chen or whatever. All over again, isn't it? And while we don't know too much about the episode than we did when it was first announced in January, some new details have emerged of how the Sea Devils were updated for the 21st century thanks to the Who production team. You have to go through the process of thinking, do we change it so much that it becomes different? Costume designer Ray Holman told SFX. And if it's something modern and different, which has animatronics and all sorts of other things, will it have the same flavour as the originals? Some changes had to be made to the classic design. For starters, the Sea Devils are now a little shorter than they were in the 1970s. Thanks to Jodie Whittaker being much shorter than the third Doctor, John Pertwee. What's that going to do without? Well, I meant them shorter just because she's shorter. Christ on a bike. Unbelievable. Another more obvious change comes from the Sea Devils' fashion choices, with the iconic silver nets and so-so samurai costuming from their earlier appearances eschewed in favour of something more piratical. There you go. That doesn't really matter, does it? You think if they're used to living under the sea, they'd worked out a way not to get all barnacles on the clothes, wouldn't they? But yeah, that's it. They still look very much like the originals. Look a bit slimmer than the originals. But I'm sure stuff happens in the face. I bet the eyes blink and all that, and the nostrils flare maybe, and mouths move. I don't think they did a great deal, did they, back in the early 70s when we first saw them. Anyway, still, Holman still included some nods to the original look, weaving netting through the costumes and in the pattern on the new Sea Devil's armour. See above. See above. Behind the scenes, creature costume maker Robert Alsop was also turning to classic Who for inspiration, using a vintage mould of a Sea Devil head to make sure there was continuity. I did have access to a plaster cast that was taken, I'm guessing, around 1980, so I was able to take some key measurements for the overall proportions from that, and then I was working very much from photos of the original episodes he told SFX, and there's a photo of the classic Sea Devil. They're quite tall. Obviously the person wearing the mask is probably looking through there somewhere. In other words, the Sea Devils may have some updates, but there's more than a touch of the old series about them. Oh, pardon me. Starting already. And the team noted that they were pleased with the amazing reactions they'd had for the revamped design after it appeared in a first look teaser trailer. You know what they say, the Sea Devil's in the details. And that's it. The new issue of SFX is on sale now. I haven't bought a magazine for years. Used to buy magazines like that all the time, but now I don't, because I can't afford them. Right, so there you go. Next up, but anyway, as we're saying, they look okay, don't they? They're not a great change from the original, apart from the clothes, which is fair enough. Yeah. Why not, indeed. Right, Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor has been caught using Jedi moves to channel the Force in real life. Obi-Wan Kenobi actor Ewan McGregor reveals that not even legendary Jedi Masters are immune from pretending to use the Force in real life. And who hasn't, I ask? While he may not have the powers of the Jedi Master he plays in Star Wars and Disney Plus's upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor can't help pretending to use the Force in his day-to-day life. When asked if he ever waves his hands to pretend he's using the Force, McGregor replied, "I do it with doors." We all do. He expanded on this further to Entertainment Weekly, saying, "I like to do that with automatic doors just for my own amusement." Yeah, we all do. And if you say you don't, you're a big fibber, or you're not a geek. Some lucky shoppers have been caught, have even caught the McGregor, in the act. "I always do a little Jedi move for the doors, like at the supermarket or something when I'm wheeling my trolley out," he explained. "It's just always for my own amusement, because it makes me laugh. But occasionally I've been caught doing that, and that's kind of embarrassing. It's difficult not to, isn't it? It's fun. If the timing's right, it feels very powerful." Obi-Wan Kenobi will see McGregor return to the role he last played in 2005's Revenge of the Sith for a 6-episode mini-series. The show is set roughly 10 years after Episode 3 and finds Obi-Wan in hiding on Tatooine, still deeply affected by Order 66 and the fall of Anakin Skywalker. "We find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story rather broken," McGregor said. "I'm faithless and beaten, somewhat given up." What a lot of rubbish. Don't get me started, it's going to be crap. And then they go on what we've talked about before. We'll carry on. Kenobi's emotional state and how it develops throughout the series is something writer Joby Harold wanted to explore. In particular, he wanted to explain how the outwardly emotional Kenobi seen in the prequel trilogy becomes the calmer and more measured Kenobi played by Alec Guinness in A New Hope. That was the story that I wanted to understand, what had happened to Obi-Wan between the guy that Ewan had brought to life and the guy that Sir Alec Guinness brought to life, Harold said. Taking on the role of Kenobi for the Star Wars prequels wasn't an easy task for McGregor. Not only did he have to try and match many of Guinness's mannerisms, but he had to deal with the backlash to the movies themselves. "I found it quite hard," McGregor said recently. "For it to come out and get knocked so hard was personally quite difficult to deal with, and also it was quite early in my career. I didn't really know how to deal with that." Obi-Wan Kenobi premieres on Disney Plus on May the 25th. Be with you. But it'll be crap, it will. I'm predicting it'll be rubbish. It'll have some good bits in it, but overall, it'll be rubbish. Sticking with Star Wars. Are we sticking with Star Wars? Is it going to come on, or shall we go to another one? We'll go to another one, because it's not coming on. Stupid bloody things. Let's see if it's come on. No. Right, we'll stick with this one. Go back to that. Star Trek then. 10 surprising Star Trek guest appearances by celebrities who weren't actors. The kings, sports stars, wrestlers, comedians and musicians who boldly went, under the mention of astronauts. Stacey Abrams' appearance in Star Trek Discovery as the President of Earth is the latest in a long line of cameos by people who aren't necessarily known for their acting abilities. Star Trek has regularly attracted all manner of politicians, scientists and celebrities to guest roles in the series. Stephen Hawking played himself in an episode of The Next Generation that found him playing poker with Data, Einstein and Isaac Newton. Today, Hawking holds the honour of being the only famous face in Star Trek to play themselves, albeit as a hologram. This list collects the many celebrities, musicians and sports personalities, astronauts and even kings to appear in Star Trek over the years. Some are hidden underneath heavy layers of makeup, while others make passing, such as Mick Fleetwood, he played an alien, didn't he? While others make passing, blink and you'll miss it cameos. Some of the people in this list have gone on from Star Trek to appear in other series and even become huge Hollywood stars. We're looking at you, Dwayne. Number 10, The Big Show, Enterprise, Borderland. And there he is. I think he just got kicked in the nuts by T'Pol there. During the 90s, there were a number of cameos by WWE stars in the various Star Trek shows. Paul Donald White II, a.k.a. The Big Show, appeared in the Enterprise episode Borderland, which is one with Augments in and Oryx Sung, played by Brent Spiner. While he'd made appearances in films like Adam Sandler's The Waterboy and the Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas classic Jingle All the Way, White was still best known as a wrestler when he played an Orion slaver. White's character captures members of the Enterprise crew, including T'Pol, when they enter an area of space between Klingon and Orion space. It was part of the ongoing Soong Augments arc that was conceived to boost flagging ratings. Promoting bigger links with the mythology of the original series was deemed to be a way to entice viewers over to the series, but it failed to save the show from cancellation. That's that last season was really good. The Orions were another link to the original series, although White doesn't get much to do other than lift up actress Jolene Blalock and laugh menacingly. It's little wonder that he was overshadowed by the return of Brent Spiner to Star Trek as one of Data's ancestors, the eugenicist Arik Sung. White has gone on to star in the Big Show and voice a character in the Fast and Furious animated series. I didn't think he'd been on the Big Show. I thought, or was that a different thing? That might be a different thing. Anyway, next. Right. This is one I've got to click and go to another page. Number 9, Stacey Abrams, Discovery Species 10C. Whatever. Discovery's Season 4 finale coming home saw voting rights advocate and Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams guest starred as the future president of a united Earth. Abrams, like so many familiar faces who appear in Star Trek, was a fan of the series and said that Michael Burnham and the story of the Discovery crew rebuilding the Federation in the 31st century was reflective of why she and so many others got into politics. It's only been on 2 pissing years. Oh, God blimey. I'm not reading that because it's talking out of her ass. Sorry. I got angry then. Mike Fink and Terry Wirtz, Enterprise, These Are the Voyagers, the dreaded final episode. Mike Fink and Terry Wirtz are 2 of a few Star Trek actors who have actually been in space. The 2 astronauts visited the set of Star Trek Enterprise while they were on holiday. This was during the filming of Enterprise's controversial final episode, These Are the Voyagers, and both men were offered cameo roles in the episode. They briefly appear as engineers on the Enterprise who are tasked with freeing the deuterium filters by Commander Tucker. Their cameos were much less controversial than those of Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis. Both men continue to have connections with Star Trek. Blah, 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 there, and it goes on. That's it. These are the Voyages. It gets a lot of stick, but I watched it recently, and it's not as bad actually as you remember. It's not great, but it's not horrid, but it's not great. They could have done better. Tom Morello, Voyager, Good Shepherd. Tom Morello, I'm thinking I know that name, of Rage Against the Machine. He's such a big fan of Star Trek. What were he in Voyager, the Good Shepherd? That he's appeared in the franchise twice, given Rage Against the Machine's political activism. It's not hard to draw connections with Star Trek's hopeful outlook of the future. Morello wrote to Star Trek producer to request a role in the Star Trek film Insurrection. Berman's son was a huge Rage Against the Machine fan, so in a display of mutual appreciation, he agreed to Morello's request and cast him as a sonar officer. Morello was delighted to be in the film despite being hidden under layers of makeup in the scorching hot desert because he got to talk to Captain Picard. Morello was later cast sans makeup in the Star Trek Voyager episode Good Shepherd. In the episode, he got to talk to another classic Star Trek captain when he directed Janeway to Junction Room 16. He later returned the favour by casting Harry Kim actor Garrett Wang in the music video for Rage Against the Machine's Sleep Now in the Fire. Oh yeah, that Good Shepherd episode is like, there's a crewman who he don't like being around other people. I can't remember if he's one of the Maquis or if he's a Starfleet, I can't remember. But he just wants to stay basically the bottom of the ship, doing his work with nobody else. And Janeway has got to try and, get him to come out a bit and work with others. And it's not a bad episode. Bryan Singer, Star Trek Nemesis. Yes, this is a blink and you'll miss it. 2002, Star Trek Nemesis is seen as the film that killed the franchise until J.J. Abrams rebooted it 7 years later. If that wasn't bad enough, later allegations surrounding the private life of director Bryan Singer make the film even more uncomfortable than before. The filmmaker was riding high after the success of his first X-Men movie when Nemesis began shooting. Singer was a big Star Trek fan and had obviously gotten to know Patrick Stewart over the course of making X-Men, so it was that Singer managed to snag himself a small cameo as a tactical officer who helps the Enterprise fight off the Riemann boarding party. Interestingly, Singer and Mission Impossible director Christopher McQuarrie once devised their own Star Trek series following the cancellation of Enterprise. It was to be set further in the future and depict the decline of the Federation. It was never submitted, but rather presciently predicted the plot of Discovery Season 4. What a surprise! Because apparently it's out there. I think Robert Myburnet's talked about it before. I can't remember what it was called. No, I can't remember. Just a moment. Hey. But yeah, the Federation, where something had happened and Federation were knackered. Anyway, despite this, Singer is on record as saying he turned down the chance to direct a Star Trek movie as he'd be too precious with the law. Following his removal from Bohemian Rhapsody in the wake of sexual assault allegations, it remains to be seen whether Singer will be asked to direct anything again. He'll be back. Mick Fleetwood, The Next Generation Manhunt, and I think that's him there. The music of Fleetwood Mac has featured in sci-fi franchises such as Doctor Who and Guardians of the Galaxy, but it was drummer/vocalist Mick Fleetwood himself who popped up in Star Trek The Next Generation, not that you'd recognise him underneath the rubbery fish head. Fleetwood had some acting roles to his name prior to appearing in Star Trek, including the Arnold Schwarzenegger dystopian sci-fi thriller The Running Man. Fleetwood was a Star Trek fan who leveraged his fame and enthusiasm for a role in the series. He even shaved off his beard in order to don the fish prosthetics. He played the Antedian dignitary in the episode Manhunt, a villainous alien that planned to destroy an upcoming intergalactic summit. Fleetwood didn't have any lines as the Antedians didn't speak. Deanna Troy's mother, Luxana, determines that they're up to no good and alerts the crew of the Enterprise. It's unclear how much of an impact Fleetwood's appearance made on the ratings for TNG, but given the lengths he went to in order to cover his face and voice, it feels like this was very much Mick Fleetwood fulfilling a lifelong personal goal. Number 4, James Worthy, The Next Generation Gambit. That's a 2-parter, I do believe, where Picard pretends to be like a pirate. A space pirate, not a yar pirate. Who's James Worthy? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. James Worthy holds a number of titles. He's a former teammate of Michael Jordan, with whom he played college basketball. All right, there you go. He led the LA Lakers to 3 NBA championship wins between 1984 and 1988. He was named one of the 50 greatest basketball players of all time in 1966 and was inducted into the basketball blah blah blah. I don't care about basketball. Worthy played Corral in the second part of the TNG story Gambit. He's a monosyllabic Klingon mercenary who was in possession of a fragment of a powerful and ancient Vulcan weapon. And it was the episode that we saw Robin Curtis back as a Vulcan again. Oh, was she a Romulan? Was she a Romulan agent pretending to be Vulcan? Oh, I can't remember. It's that long since I've seen it. Anyway, so there we go. Number 3, King Abdullah II, Voyager Investigations. There it is. If you belong to literal royalty and happen to be a big Star Trek fan, then it must be fairly simple to get a role in the series. That's how Prince Abdullah bin al-Hussein of Jordan appeared in the Star Trek Voyager episode Investigations back in 1996. The cameo had been arranged by al-Hussein's American advisor with the Voyager production team as a surprise gift for the prince, who was a big fan of Star Trek. Producer Jerry Taylor noted that the prince's fandom was evidence of the franchise's universality, telling Star Trek Monthly that, take away the title and the trappings, and at the core you'll have a Star Trek fan. Yeah, but he wouldn't have been on it. Just a normal Star Trek fan, like me, just rocking up to Paramount saying, I'm a Star Trek fan, can there be an episode? They'd tell me to bugger off, wouldn't they? But of course he's a prince. Al-Hussein appears briefly at the opening of the episode discussing something with Harry Kim. As he was a Jordanian prince and not a unionised actor, he wasn't allowed any lines. This didn't stop Al-Hussein from enjoying his time on the show, and he's said to have formed a bond with both Robert Picardo and Ethan Phillips, both of whom he invited to Jordan for a tour around historical sites and a small Star Trek convention. Abdullah bin al-Hussein was crowned King of Jordan in 1999 and continues to reign. Number 2, Iggy Pop, Deep Space Nine, The Magnificent Ferengi. I bet number 1 is Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Bet it is, anyway. And there's Iggy Pop as Avorta. It's a regular occurrence for famous fans of Star Trek to wangle themselves roles in the show, but sometimes, the production team get to cast their own idols. That's how musician and punk legend Iggy Pop came to guest star in the Deep Space Nine episode The Magnificent Ferengi as the Vorta clone Yelgrun. Ira Stephen Bear was a huge fan of Iggy Pop and was keen for him to appear in the series. He was originally suggested for the role of Grady, the homeless man who steals Dax's comm badge in the 3rd season 2-parter Past Tense, but touring meant that he was unavailable at the time. Pop was still a busy touring performer when he was approached for the role of Yelgrun in Season 6. However, fate intervened when, due to an injury sustained at a gig, he was able to appear in Star Trek whilst he recuperated. It's a chilly and slightly sinister performance as he negotiates a prisoner exchange with the Ferengi in one of DS9's many great comedy episodes. While Pop doesn't have the same extensive acting career as his old friend David Bowie, whose wife Iman appeared in Star Trek 6, he's made appearances in the punk biopic Sid and Nancy and cult sci-fi movie Tank Girl. Right, number 1. Yep, The Rock, Voyager Sunkatse. Of course, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or Rock the Dwayne Johnson, is better known as a Hollywood actor than as a wrestler, but back in 1999, the WWE star made his acting debut on an episode of That 70s Show and closely followed it with Tsunkatse, an episode of Star Trek Voyager in 2000. In it, Seven of Nine, is captured and forced to compete in futuristic arena fights. The Rock plays, surprise surprise, an alien wrestler who grapples with and defeats Seven. The cameo was designed as a cross-promotional event between Voyager and SmackDown, which had recently begun airing on the same network. It's why the Rock's alien wrestler delivers a rock bottom and arches the people's eyebrow in his brief appearance at the start of the episode. Hilariously, Jerry Ryan hadn't a clue who Dwayne Johnson was and was bewildered to discover a signed photo of his wrestling alter ego in her trailer after he left the set. She told The Big Issue that when I got to my trailer, he had left a signed picture in character as The Rock, and it said, "The Rock smells what you're cooking." Like what? It's the weirdest thing I had ever seen somebody write. It was his catchphrase. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Then his music starts. 22 years later, there's surely no one left in the land who can't smell what The Rock is cooking. There you go. Let's go back to this one. Let's come on now, look. Right, Star Wars teasers major long-lost Jedi's live-action debut. Star Wars fans just received a surprising piece of news involving one of the most popular underground Jedi Knights there is, and although he has not been seen in live action just yet, a massive Disneyland Resort and Disney World Resort update may mean he is on his way to Disney Plus any day now. Over the past few years, a new collection of Jedi has been introduced into the Star Wars universe. Some of them lesser-known heroes, such as Ahsoka Tano and Ezra Bridger, have garnered massive fandoms, and Ahsoka fans were treated with the news that a TV show simply titled Ahsoka is on its way to Disney Plus soon. Further rumours have suggested she'll be looking to find Ezra Bridger from Star Wars Rebels during the show. But an even more popular Jedi warrior has now been inducted into the world of Disneyland Resort and Disney World Resort Star Wars feature Galaxy's Edge. Cal Kestis's legacy lightsaber is now available at Galaxy's Edge, it has been revealed. Fans of the Star Wars portion of the Disney Resort will know they can visit Savvy's workshop to build their own Jedi weapon, and for the first time starting this week, Cal's legendary damaged blade will be available to build and purchase. Cal was originally featured in the EA and Lucasfilm video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, but is more Cal content on the way. And there's Ahsoka, and there's his, I can't remember the name of his robot. And there's Cal Kestis. Is that actually the actor, or is that from the? I don't know. No, that's from the game. I know that's from the game. Is that the actual actor? I think it is, isn't it? I think it is. In the video game, players took on the role of Cal as he tried to get through the galaxy unscathed as an outlawed Jedi Padawan. Throughout his journey, he helped save countless Jedi children while also battling off a number of Sith Inquisitors and some devastating bounty hunters as well. A new Jedi Fallen Order game is on its way to the video game world as we speak, but a release date has not yet been announced. But considering Star Wars and Disney have put such emphasis on Cal's arrival at Galaxy's Edge, could he be making the transition to live action in the near future? We think so. And there's another tweet about it. And there's a picture of it. Oh, that's damaged. Let's see. Cal is played by British star Cameron Monaghan. He provided both the voice and live-action motion capture for the video game character. Considering he is a perfect rendition of his Star Wars hero, should be the other way around really, shouldn't it? He could very well make an arrival in the upcoming TV shows and films. With so many new Jedi hitting the Disney Plus streaming TV shows and movies, now would be the perfect time for Cameron to return as Cal. To commemorate his induction into Galaxy's Edge, Cameron spoke out to his fans on Twitter. Cameron wrote, "You voted and Disney Parks listened. Introducing the Star Wars Cal Kestis Legacy Lightsaber Hilt. You can add this lightsaber hilt to your collection when it arrives at Galaxy's Edge on March 25th. Be with you." Oh, that's me, innit? March 25th, 2022. only at Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort. And his fans were thrilled by the news. Stephanie wrote, "I can't believe it's finally time. Congrats, Cam. So proud of you." Some people get excited about things, don't they? Alongside a plethora of celebratory emojis, Eric added, "So much love for you, dude. Super excited to add this to my growing collection." Geeks, eh? What's more, there's also a very good chance Callan Cameron could arrive on the small screen in the coming months. Later this year, I thought we'd done then. Later this year, The Mandalorian Season 3 will hit Disney+, considering the Armoured Warrior has been teaming up Jedi in the past 2 seasons. Ahsoka Tano, Grogu and Luke Skywalker. Cal would fit right in, but if he were to make an appearance, would he continue his story from Jedi Fallen Order? The Star Wars saga is available on Disney+, and that's it. It's a bit of a leap, though, isn't it? Have his lightsaber, you can buy it at Disneyland and Disney World, but that's a bit of a leap from he's going to appear in, TV and or films, or both. But you never know. Right, let's move on. Which Next Generation, Star Trek again, that's why I'm wearing this. Next Generation episode aired 32 years ago this weekend. Make it so. Captain Jean-Luc Picard was really not Captain Jean-Luc Picard a few times. Throughout the 7-year run of Star Trek The Next Generation, the Borg assimilated him in Best of Both Worlds 2-parter, after which he presented himself as Locutus of Borg. Picard, I've never understood that. Why did they give him a name, Locutus of Borg? Don't get it. Anyway, Picard posed as a Romulan in the Unification 2-parter. I'll take this advantage of this time to remove my ears. And then there was Allegiance, a 3rd season episode in which Picard was kidnapped and replaced by a clone who was seemingly Picard in every way, at least physically, but behaved in ways that threw the crew for a loop. Allegiance premiered on March 26, 1990, or 32 years ago this weekend. Pardon me. And Heavy on Star Trek is here with a look back at the episode, which can be streamed on Paramount Plus and Netflix in the UK, because I watched it today, because I couldn't remember it. When I had a quick glance at this article earlier on, I thought, Leeds, I can't remember that one. And then I thought, oh yes, it all came flooding back, and it's not a bad show. It says there it's a bottle show. I suppose it is. Allegiance was produced near the end of the Next Generation's 3rd season. It was a classic example of a bottle show, an episode meant to conserve money. Some TNG bottle shows relied on flashbacks, and others, like Allegiance, minimised costs by keeping the action to just a few sets. Spinning a story that required minimal visual effects, limited costumes, and exotic alien makeups, and focused primarily on the main cast. Such episodes often turned out great, as they let the show's stars shine and revealed fresh details about favourite characters, such as the Drumhead, which is probably the best bottle show they've ever done. The late Winrick Kolb, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Directed this episode. Super famous director, he's done everything. It was one of 16 TNG episodes to bear his name, and he also directed 13 hours of Deep Space Nine, 18 installments of Voyager, and one Enterprise adventure. He considered Allegiance one of the best of his TNG efforts. I like Allegiance because I liked working with Patrick Stewart, he told Star Trek The Next Generation, the official magazine, in 1993. He's a very subtle actor. I remember talking to Patrick the first time he started playing the clone. I said, yes, just told us that, hadn't he? Because he gets kidnapped, and the aliens that kidnap him put a clone in place of him, and it's pretty good clone, and he seems to have all Picard's memories, but he does act a bit strange, and it raises the suspicions of the crew. Anyway, I said, I think I need more from you. He thought about it and then gave me more. As we rehearsed the scene, We looked at each other and he knew he was giving me too much, so we just pulled it back. Patrick is like Yitzhak Perlman with a Stradivarius. You have to compare the Stradivarius to the Joe Schmuck violin. To the untrained eye, they're no different, but they are different, very different. Patrick played the good guy and the bad guy so close at times, but it was different and it was right. He wasn't really a bad guy, got to be honest. He was just different, you know. He wasn't doing evil things. Although he did put the Enterprise kind of in danger, and Riker had to intervene. Anyway, the visually striking alien species, the Bolians, were introduced in the first season episode Conspiracy in the form of Captain Rix, who was played by Michael Berryman. The blue aliens returned in Allegiance, with viewers experiencing first contact with the female Bolian, Mitena Harrow, Jocelyn O'Brien, and Star Trek fans would see a lot more of the Bolians as they turned up in nine more times on TNG and in all 4 TNG feature films, as well as on Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and the current shows Discovery and Lower Decks. There was an Enterprise as well. They had a Bolian on Enterprise. Crewman, I can't remember his name. He was on the Enterprise and he was also in the Star Trek Voyager Elite Force game. There you go. Picard behaving badly. So what did the Picard clone do that confused Riker, Troy, Data, Dr. Crusher, Wesley and Worf? As my mum used to call him, Waff. He diverted the Enterprise from a current mission and insisted that it travel at a ridiculously slow speed, which would take weeks rather than minutes to arrive at its destination. He dropped in on the crew's poker game, an action he wouldn't repeat until the series finale several years later. He bought drinks for the crew in 10 Forward. Oh, yeah. Ales for everyone. Ales. What is it, Middle Ages? He bought drinks for the crew in 10 Forward and led them in a sing-along of a tune called Heart of Oak, and he danced with Dr. Crusher and kisses her. All of that was so very, very not in Picard's nature, but loads of fun for fans. Anyone who watches Allegiance will see 2 tall telepathic aliens with massive heads and brown skin and sporting skin-tight blue outfits. They were played by real-life twin brothers Jerry and Jeff Rector. But did they have to be? You know, because they were unrecognisable under all the rubber. Anyway, in addition to being identical twins, they're both actors, writers, producers and directors who've turned up in numerous familiar projects over the past several decades. For example, Jeff, for example, was in Wall Street, Hellmaster, never heard of it, Sliders, Inalienable with Walter Koenig, Marina Sirtis, Alan Ruck and several other Star Trek actors, and American Horror Story. While Jerry's acting credits include Vampire's Kiss, The Twilight Zone, Supernatural, The Strain, and music videos by Kendrick Lamar and Cardi B. And back in 1996, Jeff and Jerry both appeared in State of the Art, an episode of Sliders. That episode was directed by Star Trek veteran John Kretschmer, co-written by TNG scribe Tracy Torme, and starred Voyager guest John Rhys Davis and Lower Decks voice actor Jerry O'Connell, who is married to Discovery recurring guest star and Strange New World's leading lady Rebecca Romaine. And that's it. Yeah, it's a good episode of Allegiance. Look it up. If you got Paramount Plus, give it a watch. If you've got Netflix in the UK, give it a watch on there. If you've got the DVDs or Blu-rays, you can watch it on there as well. It's a good one. Still on Star Trek. How Star Trek The Next Generation took a huge risk on an iconic episode. 30 years ago, Star Trek The Next Generation gave the franchise a classic episode by bending a key rule. And there's the clue to what we're talking about. It's obviously cause and effect, with the USS Bozeman colliding with the Enterprise and causing it to explode. With Captain Morgan, is it Morgan Bateson or Bateman? I can't remember. Anyway, ask any Trekker to name their all-time favourite episodes, and most will mention 1967's City on the Edge of Forever, written by Harlan Ellison. City on the Edge of Forever follows Captain Kirk and Spock as they track a temporarily crazed Dr. McCoy back to New York in 1930, where Kirk falls for social worker Edith Keeler, Joan Collins. That same trekker may also include the Next Generation episode Cause and Effect, in which the Enterprise D gets caught in a destructive time loop, leaving Dr. Crusher and her lingering deja vu to figure it all out. Well, it's not just hers, others as well. Pardon me, but I think she's the first to realise the reliving time over and over again. While those two episodes may be high watermarks in the minds of fans, the former almost prevented the latter. We weren't really committed to doing time travel at the time, said Cause and Effect writer Brannon Braga in a retrospective with the Hollywood Reporter written for the episode's 30th anniversary. Braga points out to Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry as the source of the restriction. Gene Roddenberry, who was still alive, wasn't a big fan of time travel because I think he felt it was a bit of a science fiction cliché, Braga told the outlet, and he'd done it with the City on the Edge of Forever. According to Braga, the workaround came by avoiding all forms of time travel, even the natural flow. Instead, Braga's script forced the crew to relive the same last few moments before the Enterprise exploded. As ingenious as the solution may have been to Braga, others were not so convinced. I thought Brannon was effing with me. I'll not swear. Not on purpose, anyway. Admitted Jonathan Frakes, who directed the episode. At first, I didn't really get that what Brannon was trying to do was a different kind of Rashomon story. No idea what that means. Has it got a link? No, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Frakes wasn't the only person to struggle with the concept, as viewers at the time called their local television stations to complain, thinking that the broadcast had accidentally restarted. Some people are stupid. They are. They've no patience. Just watch it. So immediately picking up your phone. Oh, you made a mistake. It's starting again. Christ. Oh. Dummy heading. They do the dummy heading. Humanoids. Despite that initial confusion, Cause and Effect became not only a successful episode of television, but a highly influential episode as well. It first aired on March 23rd, 1992, almost a full year before the comedy Groundhog Day would popularise the concept. More importantly, it gave the franchise a new trope, one that would be repeated a few more times in the franchise, and in other franchises as well. There's a good supernatural episode where they have that sort of thing going on, where they keep dying over and over again. And then, of course, there's the films in Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, which I don't like anyway. Coda from the third season of Voyager features Captain Janeway trapped in a loop while encountering an alien masquerading as the ghost of her father. Much later, Discovery's seventh episode, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, traps the Discovery crew in a loop. I don't know why they give episode names to Discovery, because they never show them on screen. Anyway, traps the Discovery crew in a loop, courtesy of the conniving Harcourt Fenton Mudd, Rainn Wilson, which was probably one of the best episodes, actually. And unsurprisingly, Lower Decks spoofed the trope in Season 2's I Excretus as one of many classic Trek plots receiving homage. Don't watch Lower Decks because I absolutely loathe it. I think I hate Lower Decks more than I hate Discovery. Are all of these episodes as good as A City on the Edge of Forever? Certainly not, but Cause and Effect still proves that sometimes it pays to bend a rule. That's a concept James T. Kirk would approve of, even if his creator would not. There we go. Yeah, it's a good episode, Cause and Effect. It's one of my favourites. I do like it. And they show the Enterprise blowing up from different angles. And it's jolly, jolly good. I always wonder, though, I think they did books about it, but I always wondered what happened to the crew of the Bozeman. Because they jumped forward from the 23rd to the 24th century. And I always wondered, how they coped. But apparently books were written about that crew, so I suppose if you can find them, read them. I've not read them. Because I'm bone idle. Right, beware, science news, beware gigantic stadium-sized asteroid hurtling towards Earth today, says NASA. Oh, by the way, have I told you? This is from High Tech, Make Life Simple. All the things, links, in the description box down there. That's if you're watching it on the, on your computer. If you're watching it on like your telly through a YouTube app or whatever, they won't be there, will they? Well, they're not on mine anyway. But if you're watching it on your phone or on your computer, the links are in the description box. And don't forget to like. Let's get it wrong. Like and subscribe, like it says there in them red boxes. Like and subscribe and share the vids and use the notification bell and all that cool stuff. And let's get the channel going. Anyway, beware a gigantic stadium-sized asteroid hurtling towards Earth today, says NASA. Today? NASA reports that a gigantic 259 metres wide asteroid will be approaching Earth today, March 24th. It's not approaching Earth at all. It's not like that. It's not like that. Can you see all that? I think it just fits, doesn't it, that? I do believe. Yeah. Small writing, what can do about it? A potentially hazardous asteroid is heading towards Earth today, March 24th, according to NASA. After a couple of smaller asteroids flew past the Earth earlier this week, this will be the largest asteroid to come across to our immediate neighbourhood this month. This asteroid, dubbed 2013 BO76, is 259 metres or 850 feet wide. That is as large as a stadium. While the asteroid has filled the hearts of astronomers with excitement, giving them a chance to observe it, it should be noted that if this asteroid deviates even slightly from its path, it can spell disaster for everyone on Earth. It won't. According to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, 2013 BO76 will make the closest approach to Earth from a distance of 5,110,000 kilometres. It's about 3 million miles, isn't it? Let's do a check, eh? I'll do a check on here. I won't do it on that one. Convert kilometres to miles. Convert kilometres to miles. Right. I forgot what it said. It was 5,110,000, wasn't it? 5,110,000. Yep, 3,175,206 miles. There you go. So I wasn't so far off. And I said 3 million. This is much, much closer than its last approach a long time ago. Also, this is a distance that should allow the asteroid to make a safe passage. However, in terms of galactic distances, well, yeah, this is a small number, and if by any misfortune the asteroid deviates even slightly from its orbit, it can pose a grave threat for humanity. Further, the asteroid is travelling at a speed of 49,513 kilometres per hour, which is about 40 times faster than the speed of sound. At such a speed, the asteroid will cause massive destruction if it hits the Earth. It's not going to. 259 metres wide asteroid 2013 BO76 orbits the Sun in an asymmetric elongated orbit. On one side, it traces up to the Earth's orbit. At two intersecting points, it will meet Earth at one of them. And on the far side, it goes as far as the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The asteroid completes its full revolution in approximately 9 years. If you want more information about this asteroid, you can go to NASA's Small Body Database by clicking this link there, that link there. The asteroid previously came closest to our Earth in 2013 when it flew past us from a distance of 7 million, I've got the commas in the wrong place, haven't they? 7,888,295 kilometres, which is about 6 million miles. 9 years later, it is going to make the closest approach ever to Earth, cutting the distance short by 15 times. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And that is why some scientists, have they got that? So should that be 78 million kilometres? And they've just missed out a number there. Could be, don't know. Anyway, that is why some scientists are constantly monitoring it. In fact, the Planetary Defense Coordination Office, a department under NASA, vigilantly monitors not only this asteroid but thousands of other near-Earth objects which have a potential risk of becoming hazardous to our home planet. And there you go, so that's it. So, I don't know what time it was supposed to go past, it didn't say, did it? But today? What is today? Yes, 24th is today. I don't even know what day it is. Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, and lastly, we're safe. Don't worry, it's safe. It's 3 million miles. I mean, the moon is, a 250,000 miles away, so it's like what? 3 times 4, 12 times the moon's distance. Right, odd circular shape beneath the ocean in Google Earth images is probably not aliens. No, it probably isn't. But there it is, a big round thing at the bottom of the sea. This circular structure, a circular shape on the seafloor visible on Google Earth is raising cries of UFO, but chances are it's not aliens. No, probably isn't. But you never know. Never know. Sorry I did that in a silly voice. I'm always moaning that... the news media never takes UFO stories seriously, and here I'm doing silly voices. Stupid pigging idiot. Anyway, the sighting comes courtesy of Scott Waring, proprietor of UFOSightings.daily.com and frequent discoverer of objects that he dubs 100% proof of ancient aliens. Well, they might be right. He's also an avid peruser of photographs from NASA's rovers, and he has claimed to find everything from a monkey on Mars to the 24-foot tall, 7.3 metres, body of a Martian monarch killed in battle 1 million years ago. There are some weird things, though, from pictures and from the Mars rovers and the Mars orbiters. So, you never know. You never know. Don't just dismiss it. Unless it's obviously dismissible. Anyway, up in the UFO ante, the shape is located off the coast, sort of near Peru's Nazca Lines, a series of enormous geoglyphs built by the Nazca people almost 2,000 years ago. These lines are a common fixation for conspiracy theorists. There's not conspiracy theories about it. It's for like UFO enthusiasts and ancient astronaut theory enthusiasts, not conspiracy theorists. Falling out with your space.com, you being knobheads, who sometimes claim aliens were involved in their construction. I don't think they were, but I think they were involved in that they inspired their construction, in my opinion. Anyway, so what did Waring find? A circle some 4.2 miles in diameter, visible about 352 miles off the coast of Lima, which is in Peru. The circle appears to rise from the seafloor like a hill or a mountain. It's like a lava dome or something like that. Let's see what they say. Oh, that's showing where. That must be where it is. That's where the Nazca Lines are. And that's where Lima is. And there, up there, somewhere there, that's La Paz. But that's Lake Titicaca up there. And that's where Tiwanaku is, the ancient city up there. I like Ancient Aliens. I do. It's one of my favourite shows. Most likely, though, this ocean floor nubbin is a data artifact. Strange shapes can appear for many reasons on the ocean floor in Google Earth. The company uses data from multiple sources to map out the sea floor. These sources have different resolutions or levels of details, and when they are stitched together, strange shapes sometimes appear. In a 2016 blog post, Google developers pointed out one data quirk that can lead to strange hill and valley artifacts. The background map of the ocean floor is based on a map made by the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, which uses gravity measurements from satellites to roughly map out the ups and downs of the sea floor, also known as the ocean's bathymetry, I don't know how to pronounce that. For more detailed mapping, the company gets data from ship-based sonar surveys. These sonar surveys send pulses of sound down toward the ocean floor, then record the echoes to get a high-resolution picture. At times, the rough satellite-based measurements and the shipboard measurements don't agree, and a single point of data from one or the other can lead to what looks like a steep hill or a dip. Notably, the UFO spotted by Waring sits right in the middle of a transect line where a shipboard sonar survey has clearly passed. Pardon me. Making it possible that the shape is a side effect of stitching together multiple data sources. These long lines are visible all across the ocean floor on Google Earth and are sometimes mistaken for signs of a lost civilization. Maybe they are. Odd ocean floor shapes on Google Earth illustrate just how little is known about the sea floor. The satellite imagery that covers almost the entire ocean floor can resolve features down to about 0.9 miles. I'll just say a mile. While modern seafloor sonar can reveal details on the order of 328 feet or 100 meters. According to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, only 5% of the ocean floor has been mapped by modern sonar. And there we go. Sorry, Stephanie, I'm not agreeing with you there. I think it's not a UFO, but I think it's something that is actually there. I don't think it's an artifact of, a mistake. I think it's something there. It could be like a little lava dome or something like that, because it's Pacific, innit, and it's on the ring of fire and all that, innit, so it could be something like that. You never know, that might get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you might have another island appear in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in few thousands or millions of years. Or it could be a UFO, I don't know. Or, who are we to say it's not? Right, that's your lot. A shorter show today. A shitty show. Right, I'll get rid of that. I think I've gone doolally. So we're doing a Twitch stream earlier on. It was only half an hour, but I think I've got a bit light-headed with all my streaming. Right, so that's it. So, well, as I say, we'll leave it there. Tomorrow there won't be a news thing because it's Picard review day tomorrow. I've seen the episode today. I'll be doing my review tomorrow. I'll be recording my review tomorrow and uploading it. Bit of spoilers, not spoilers, but it's not very good. In fact, it's the worst one so far. The quality is getting lower and lower as it goes on. And they've obviously not watched past, the writers have obviously not watched past Next Generation episodes. You'd have thought Patrick Stewart, some of the other actors that are involved had have realised this, but obviously they don't, because they're not really. They're just actors, aren't they? They're not really fans. He might be a producer, and he might have played Picard for however long it's been, 30 odd years. But he's not a fan, is he? He's not a fan, so he don't keep up with it. He's played it, but he's probably forgotten that much of what he's done. But I'm going on anyway. Right, so that'll be tomorrow. So until then, news will be back again on Saturday. So until then, be nice to each other, look after each other, help each other out when you can, and until the next time, I'll see thee.